Today, my heart is full. I'm grateful as I accept this distinguished honor. I thank the Breakfast Rotary Club, Fort Collins Breakfast Rotary Club, for selecting me as your representative for Teacher of the Year. Thanks, Chris and the Breakfast Club. Thank you. In your phenomenal organization, you consistently exemplify service above self, which I identify with. Through activities that you do like the Buddy Benches program, which we have at our school, the third grade dictionary gift program, which we also see, and the baby food drive. I am honored to be associated with such a wonderful organization. I'm truly humbled by this honor, as I know the outstanding, remarkable, and committed teachers working diligently every day to assist and coach students in their learning journeys. I'm thrilled to be recognized alongside spectacular educators like Rhonda Ewan and Becca Wren, and I thank you. I want to recognize and thank my teaching team, Cassidy Kimball and Kristen Zweiback, whose expertise and professionalism make every day a grounded and productive adventure. Thank you to my administrators, Melanie Mearswell, Judson Rose, and Mark Ribby, who I think is in Italy right now, whose support and confidence in my journey to empower students results in my willingness to follow my creative whims and try new things. To all the students and their families with whom I work and have had the honor to work with, thank you for letting me learn alongside you as we grow and evolve together on our life school journeys. To my mom, Carol, my husband, Tori, my son, Eli, and my daughter, Briary, thank you for being patient. I'm all in the school year, and without you, I couldn't be me. So thank you. So a few weeks ago, when I was surprised by the announcement that I would be receiving this honor, I was teaching our first grade math lesson about counting on. And I was so shocked as my team, my administrators, and representatives from the district, who I had the joy to meet, joined our class and revealed to the students that Mrs. McCoy was Teacher of the Year. At that moment, my first thoughts were, what must my kids be thinking? What I discovered after our guests had left is that my students just wanted to know what this meant. What was the purpose of that? The purpose of their visit. After the announcement, of course, the math lesson was out the window. So we held a class meeting at the carpeted area, crisscross applesauce, and as a team, we discussed how our shining lights had been brightened this day as we took time to celebrate. I explained that all of our work together was the purpose. Then these generous first graders began to express their pride in the news. They began to use the sign for proud, just like that, and their sweet, honest comments to express their feelings about themselves and of me. The students, although just in first grade, recognized that being happy for someone else brought even more joy than being happy for themselves. In these moments, they discovered the purpose. In this moment and countless others through my years of teaching, I'm honored to witness students finding this purpose. I'm blessed to find my purpose in designing learning experiences that prompt discovery. Our learning community finds purpose through reflection, resulting in students owning their knowledge. I find purpose in guiding students to find power. They find purpose in learning. They find purpose in trying. They find purpose in inventing. They find purpose in failing, but then persevering. They perceive it too. Persevering through. So Pablo Picasso once said, "The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away." So today, I thank you for acknowledging my purpose. Thank you.
You were right. It's totally different getting in front of a bunch of big kids instead of little kids. So I'm currently in my 6th year of teaching, and sometimes I wonder how it hasn't been like 15 or 20 years, and other times I'm not sure how I've already completed 5. I did some rough estimating, and including my students this year, I've had somewhere around 710 students. When I think about it that way, it's somewhat terrifying. The magnitude of the impact, both good, hopefully not bad, that could be had on 710 middle schoolers in only 6 years is staggering. Teachers spend a minimum of 40 hours with students in a week, and the truth is, sometimes society grossly undervalues the work being done in education. So first of all, I want to thank Poudre School District and the Rotary Clubs of Fort Collins for taking time to elevate the status of teachers on a monthly and a yearly basis. I appreciate the time you've all given to shed light on the work being done both in and out of classrooms, because let's face it, being a teacher does not end when the bell rings. I want to share a few stories with you all. First, this is a really cool moment for me because I've genuinely always known I wanted to be a teacher. I'm not sure what really sparked that for me, but I remember playing teacher with my brother when I was little, and I was committed. I had a plan book and worksheets, and I held mock conferences. And the weirdest part is I duped and bamboozled my older brother into being the parents I had to have conferences with. So suffice it to say, I've always known what I wanted, even from an early age. And even with this childhood vision and plenty of classes in college to give me the teaching credentials, nothing really prepared me for the song and dance that's required to be in front of a bunch of prepubescent teens. I remember this moment, my first year, where I swear time stopped for a second. I had a National Geographic style monologue playing in my head, talking about these middle school creatures in their natural habitats. And if you've taught middle school, I guarantee you've had that episode play in your head before. Anyway, here's what happened. I scanned across the room, and I looked to the left, and there's a kid laying on the countertops. I looked to the middle, and a kid was rubbing a glue stick all over the table. And by the time I turned my head to the right, this kid had opened up a water bottle and dumped it on his neighbor's paper. As a side note, I debated whether or not I should get up here and tell you this when receiving a teaching award. But I decided ultimately it was worth it because me and my students survived this day. My classroom management did a 180-degree flip. And maybe most importantly, teachers can make huge growth with people in their corner. And I've been fortunate to have several of those in my career already. Honestly, that day probably totally changed my philosophy around teaching. I had sort of an epiphany about the type of teacher I wanted to be and what was most important to me. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm a huge science dork. I get super animated when I talk about genetics. I wear punny science shirts almost every Friday, right, Thompson? And this past summer, I took a 2-week trip to Alaska to do research in the Arctic. But none of that is why I'm a teacher. I realized my first priority was working with kids to be good humans, and that their character, integrity, and the choices that they make define who they are. And as their teacher, I try to challenge them to think about what story it is that they're telling about themselves by their actions. This is not easy to do, and so much of it happens outside the normal school hours. At Lincoln, I watch the staff work so hard. Outside of the normal call of duty, we guide 11 service learning trips. We tutor 2 to 3 times a week. We coach athletics, voluntarily organize and lead after-school clubs, and honestly move mountains when trying to figure out how to be a person for the students who feel like they have no one. I try to reflect on my own craft, and I'm truly inspired and humbled by all the amazing educators around me. And if you asked any of them why they go the extra mile, they'd probably tell you this. It's because of the kids. I want to share one more story with you all. It is one I shared when I received Teacher of the Month, but it's so near and dear to my heart and changed my life, I'd like to share a piece of it again. When I was in college, I came across a quote. Oh man, here I go again, round 2. It said, "You cannot teach a crowd to walk straight." My best friend had it inscribed on a plaque for me when I graduated, and now it hangs behind my desk as a reminder to me every day. Here's one example why. I had a student in my class 4 years ago. Instantly, I could tell she was coming to me with a lot of baggage and most likely a lack of skills to deal with it. I even wrote her a major office referral the first week of school, something she will never let me forget. And if you know this student, you know that. Anyway, she represented something I realized was a huge need, particularly at Lincoln Middle School, but probably not unique across the nation. In public education, we are constantly being asked to do more with less time and resources and with students whose needs vary in more ways than you might imagine. Lincoln has a hugely different population than other schools in the district, with students whose home lives very seriously impact their academic performance. I noticed that this student found it difficult to achieve in school, but only upon working closely with her did I realize that she was coming to me with so many challenges in her life. She faced instability at home, a network of poor influences, and no confidence or perseverance around academics. And the expectation is that she should walk into my classroom forgetting about all of them, and I should teach her photosynthesis or the geologic timescale. And those were hard for me at that age, and I had outstanding parents who gave me countless opportunities to thrive. So I'm not unwilling to teach science content to kids whose youth looks a lot different than mine. And in fact, I think I'm lucky because in some ways I think science can be used as a vessel to connect with kids. And if kids are connected, they will do better. But again, the bigger picture is that I realized the student needed more skills, not schools, she had a great school, more skills and more tools in her toolbox to cope with life. Since then, I've tried to find ways to involve myself in the school that can give kids opportunities to become better humans and to teach them how to approach and get through obstacles. I started realizing that if I could help students learn how to approach difficult situations and give them strategies for navigating adversity, along with coaching them while they practice these skills, then we could start to meaningfully move forward with academics. This is the crux of education to me, meeting kids where they are with what they have and working with them to find success both in and out of school. I refuse to let their background, their history, or their possible lack of resources be an excuse for them or myself when seeking growth, momentum, and success. I've continued to follow this student through her education and life. She's passing all of her classes. She plays basketball for Poudre High School. She's employed at the Boys and Girls Club, and she volunteers at the Animal House. For the third year in a row, this summer she will be a participant in an organization called COPAC that I co-direct, but this year she can be a paid co-guide. This program is aimed at taking about 100 students out of state to put them in challenging outdoor situations, and then processing with them about how to persevere through obstacles put before them, with the hope that they transfer these lessons to their everyday life, much like this student has done in her own life. She may have needed extra supports and more structure in place, but she is now utilizing these moments in her life to forge a positive path. Students, regardless of their circumstances, can all get to their destinations and goals. Their paths may require guidance, and they definitely won't look the same. Some students can be taught to walk a straight path, and some may move from point A to point B, sideways and zigzagged, much like a crab. But I believe it is my job to think outside the box and find ways to reach kids and teach kids and give them the skills to be excellent humans, help them navigate science, and make sure that they, like this student who's become so special to me, gets to the ocean. Thank you again for the honor of awarding me Rotary Teacher of the Year. It is invigorating and empowering and reinforces that what I do every day, side by side with my colleagues, matters. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Curtis, and thank you, your Rotary Club. I'm honored to be here, you guys, as we've all said. And since I'm used to just not having speeches prepared, I didn't prepare one. Since we have so many transitions during our day and our days never seem to go as planned. Thanks to my amazing team, our amazing principal, Alyssa Paduska at Shepherdson. When she told me our team was getting ready to go to a class and it was a staff meeting, I said, I can't come. We have a class to get. She goes, it's okay, just really quick, and then you guys can leave. So I'm like, okay. I have morning duty, drop-off lane duty, 3 times a week. And I thought, oh my, has something happened? Has a parent gotten upset? I've always been out there. And she goes, so I went there just thinking, okay, no big deal. So I'm like, And then she announces it, and I'm like, no, you guys, no way. I totally, as I know all of us teachers, it's a team effort. I couldn't do it without my amazing team, who I brought two here today. Rachel Whitlock is one of our teachers of autism program, and Amy Shumalo is our occupational therapist. And the beauty about so many teachers I work with, especially my team, is we're just not a team, we're friends. And we're here to support each other personally, professionally, in all we do. And over my years of over 30 years in this amazing school district, all of our girls graduated through here, ending at Rocky Mountain High School, and what an amazing school that was. And all of my girls are now in college and going into fields of service as well, social work, psychology, and physical therapy. And I think it was a really strong school foundation that has taken them off. My husband, who's been with me for 28 of the 30-plus years of my journey, has heard many a stories and knows when I come home sometimes we just need to go out to dinner instead of it's a cook night. And I really appreciate that, because there are times and challenges after days with some students who are challenging. And this year we have, I have over 50 wonderful kids that I get to see from preschool through 5th grade, and they're all amazing, and they're all a gift to unwrap. I remember one of our students in our first year of our autism program was totally nonverbal. We gave her an iPad. Technology is huge in our program to get them to communicate somehow instead of just having behavior outbursts. And she started requesting things, and we would always model and give her great language. And one day we were doing pictures, and she said, "Mom." And when we told Mom that afternoon that she had just said her first words, the tears were there. And within just a short time, we took the iPad away, and she's a verbal student now in one of our center-based programs. That's the growth that we see. I love seeing my kids in the community, out and about. Sometimes I get to see them at various events. I ran into a parent the other day who is now a sub in the district, and she goes, "I'm thinking I know you." And it was a parent of one of my former students. The student is now 28 and doing marvelous things in our community. One of my favorite events in the community that I get to partake in, that two of my nieces got us involved in that came to Fort Collins last year, was NOCO Night to Shine, Tim Tebow's big event, which is a prom that is held every year. Last year was the second year that we brought it here to northern Colorado. And my husband and I volunteer every year. We're companions, as well as we set up. Tim Tebow actually came last year to the prom. It's every day around Valentine's Day, and we're always looking for great volunteers. So keep that in mind. It's a prom to celebrate their uniqueness and to celebrate them for the night. And I get to see so many of my students who go there now as adults, and they're independent. It's a night out for those parents. A lot of the parents have a hard time letting go, but they've put their trust in us, which so many of these parents have a hard time doing, is putting their trust in us. And it's okay. I love every one of my kids. I'm super proud of my own kids, and PSD is an amazing, amazing place to have your own kids go through, as well as to be able to teach. And I can't believe it's been over 30-plus years. And I have, like I said, the best team. I've met some amazing teachers throughout my career. And now, where I'm at in my career, if I had to do it all over again, would I do it again? Yeah, I would. I've met some great friends. Jen McCoy, my gosh. I mean, just amazing. And I've worked with some great administrators. Alyssa and our assistant principal, Wayne Thorns, are amazing in what happens in our building. So just a huge thank you. I'm honored. I don't feel worthy of this, but I so thank you. Mary Hazel, I've known forever as well out there. Thank you. Thank you, guys, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.